Hey everyone, I'm Sara. Here at Timbecon, we've got a brand new range of finishing products courtesy of Walrus Oil. They're famous for being non-toxic, easy to use, and earth-friendly. These cutting boards have seen better days, so I'm gonna give them a little bit of a refresh using the cutting board oil. First of all, they need a good sand. I'm gonna be using this orbital sander. I'm using 180 grit. If you don't have an orbital sander, you can do it by hand as well, but I'm lucky to have a good friend that let me borrow theirs. So I've been told that when you put the sandpaper on, you just want to make sure that you line up the holes. Whoop. Just to make sure that the ventilation goes through. Now that I'm finished with the sander, I'm just gonna go around the edges by hand. I'm using 180 again, but if you want to, you can use 240 just to give it that final smooth. We're almost up to the oiling, but you don't want to oil until you've gotten rid of all the dust. So if you just grab a slightly damp rag and just give it a little bit of a once over, just to make sure that there's no residual dust left over. Otherwise it can get into the oil and it's not as nice a finish. Time to start oiling. The good thing about Walrus Oil cutting board oil is it's non-toxic, so you don't need to use any gloves. You feel pretty safe using it. In fact, at the end of the day, my hands feel awesome after using it all day. And it's really easy to apply, which for me as a beginner is really, really handy. Before you start oiling, you want to make sure you've got everything you need within reach. So I've got the oil here, a rag ready to go, and these two packers, just to lift the board off the table when I flip it over and do the other side. And if you're doing this at home, make sure you've got something to cover the surface you're working on, just so the oil doesn't get all over it. Let's get into it. So grab it and give it a little shake. And then just apply it across the board. And just rub it in with the rag. Pretty easy. Gorgeous. So now that that's dried a little bit, you just want to wipe off any excess oil that's there. You could leave it like this. I think this looks pretty good, but we're going to wait 24 hours, come back and use the wood wax just to bring it up to the next level. Okay, so it's been about a day. This is looking awesome. I'm really, really happy with it, but there's one more thing that we want to do, and that is to wax. So the reason you want to wax is it helps to nourish the board and it gives it an extra kind of layer of protection, just to make it last a little bit longer, and it makes it look awesome as well. Naturally, we're going to use the Walrus Oil wood wax for cutting boards. Now, like all their products, it's non-toxic and easy to use and earth-friendly. When you're applying it, you can either just use a nice clean rag or some steel wool. So I've got some 4O steel wool here. I like to use it because it just helps to bring up the surface a little bit nicer and a little bit shinier. The secret to using the wood wax is to use it very sparingly. So you don't need too much and you don't want a super thick layer of wax on top of it. With the steel wool, you just want to rip a bit off and roll it up into a kind of golf ball size shape. And then just dip a little bit in there. As I said, you don't want too much on there. And then just in small circular motions, just make your way across the board. Once you've done all the sides of it, I would usually leave it for about 15 minutes or so. And then you can come back over and buff it with a clean rag or a buffing rag or something like that. So I might go and grab a coffee and I'll come back here and we'll finish it off. Now for the last step, we're just gonna give it a quick buff. So I've just got a clean chucks and you just want to do some small little circles, just like when you were applying the wax, just to make the finish come up and shine. So that's all done. I can't believe how easy that was, and I can't believe how well they've all turned out. I'm really, really happy with it. I should mention that Walrus Oil products have a shelf life of about 18 months to 2 years. So imagine how many projects you can get done in that time. I've had so much fun doing this, and I'm so impressed with how they've turned out and how easy it was. So now I feel like I'm definitely ready to move on to some bigger and better things. So don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Sarah, thanks for watching.